Hey guys, Hannah here with PopCulture.com, and we are here with Gone West, who released their first EP, Tides, earlier this year, and they just released a video for their new single, What Could Have Been. Guys, thank you for coming and talking to us today.
Thank you.
So I kind of want to know, how did you get started? Because you all were in the music industry before, and how did you form this band?
Well, it actually goes back about 14 years. Jason and I, we met in 2005, and we wrote my first album, Coco, together. And then during that time, we met Justin, and I asked him to join my band, play guitar and sing. I was a fan of his music from Hawaii.
Okay.
So we toured the world together and then fell in love. We've been together for 10 years now. During that time, these two met here in Nashville.
So I got my start in a band called the Jane Deere Girls, and Jason came out on a writing trip and was writing with us, and it was love at first write for this guy. And I had a boyfriend, so I had to figure that out.
Gotcha.
But then a couple years later, we fell in love, and we've been married 8 years.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So like 2 years ago, we all figured we hang out, write all the time in different formations together, and we thought, let's write a song and see what happens, and if we like it, we'll go from there. And now we're Gone West.
Definitely. So how did that name come about?
So that name was a suggestion from, I think, Colby's sister. And since we all live in Nashville, but we're from west of Tennessee, Hawaii, Iowa, Texas, and California, when we're not here, we've usually gone west. So we usually say we've gone west, gone back home.
Nice, I like that. Like you just mentioned, you are really from kind of all over, and your musical styles are all very different. So how did you kind of combine those into Gone West sound?
Who wants to take
Well, it took many tries. It's kind of like making a jambalaya, maybe. Okay. If the jambalaya is music and the ingredients are all of us. I mean, we all kind of come from similar places musically, just each of them being unique. You know, we all have our different styles and our different tastes and stuff we like, but they're not that far away from each other, in my opinion. They kind of share like a commonality.
Right.
I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think, yeah, we all have our different backgrounds in music, but there's also some overlap on all of them. We like telling stories. We like, real songs that mean something personal to all of us. We like harmonies and we like acoustic instruments, and so I think we had that in common.
Yeah.
And the fact that we all have these unique musical backgrounds sort of makes this jambalaya so special.
Great.
I'm really hungry now.
And listening to that, honestly, it really does work together. Everything is very seamless. And so your new single, What Could Have Been, can you talk about the writing process behind that song?
Yeah.
We wrote that with our friend, Jamie Kenny, and we went into the writing session, and he had been listening to our EP, I guess, in the shower to get inspired. I'm sure he's so stoked that we tell that story. And he sat down at the piano when we got there and just played us kind of, a rough sketch of this idea he had, and we immediately all related to it. We've all had those experiences in relationships, even within our own relationships, where we've broken up and had time apart. And things we wish we could have done better or differently. So we wrote it pretty quickly and recorded it also really fast. So.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I like the concept for the video. It's like you guys are singing and then the past selves appear in the mirror. So how was that to shoot, kind of, because you guys obviously are both couples, like working together like that?
Yeah, it was interesting. Our friend Patrick Tracy, he directed it, and he had this brilliant idea of having the mirrors have a reflection of what could have been. So a lot of it is stuff from our past, but a lot of it is what maybe we could have been doing in the future if we were still together. And, although we're still together, we wanted to play the characters that were going through that. And again, like Nellie said, it's stuff that we've all experienced in these relationships of just showing that couples go through good times and they go through hard times, and some work through it, some don't, some break up for a while and get back together. And so I think it was just explaining that in hopes that people relate to it.
Definitely. And so what's it like to kind of get to work with your friends and your significant others, all the time as a group now?
It's fun.
We've known.
Yeah.
You want a party? You got a friend. You need some love? You got your lover. Sorry, we had that word.
All boxes covered.
That's exactly
Bases
how
covered.
it is.
That's awesome. So Nellie, you were in the Jane Deere Girls, so you've kind of had the most experience with country music. So did you give them any advice or anything like that?
Well, Colby had already been coming to Nashville and collaborated with Brad Paisley, Taylor Swift. I mean, she had her foot already in that, and they had been coming to Nashville and visiting and hanging out. So I feel like they already kind of knew what we were getting into, but I have tried to go into certain experiences, maybe just give tidbits of advice or whatever, but I also don't want to put too many preconceived notions into our mind, because it's been a very different experience with him versus Susie, and I mean both are great, but they're totally different. So
for sure.
Yeah.
And then Colby, you obviously had such success as a solo artist. What's it like now to be in a group?
You know, I always wanted to be in a band. I always had stage fright at the beginning of my career and even now. And so I would always see bands on stage or do interviews or be in the studio. And I thought it looked like so much fun to have people to celebrate with and to go through the hard times with.
Right.
So that's why, I mean, this happened, it naturally progressed for us to start this band, but it was something that I really did want for a long time, and so I'm loving it. I think especially that we're friends and we're with our significant others, it makes traveling really fun.
I was gonna say, I've heard it gets lonely on the road. So
yeah.
for you guys.
It does.
And then Justin, you were in the Hawaiian music scene. So have you noticed any really differences with Nashville, or is it kind of similar?
It's exactly the same. Yeah, there's a lot of differences. I think the similarities are more surprising than the differences.
Yeah. Really?
And I didn't grow up with country music. I grew up with Hawaiian music, and it wasn't until I moved to Nashville that I realized that there's a lot of crossover and there's a lot of similarities. The steel guitar came from Hawaii to country music, you know, and Hawaiian music is folk music from Hawaiians, and country music is folk music of the people of, you know, of the rest of the country. So I think the similarities are what really appealed to me in doing this. And I'm, you know, on the album, there's a little bit of Hawaiian language, and there's some ukulele and some, you know,
awesome.
Hawaiian guitar licks. So we try to incorporate all that.
Great to hear that. And so, Jason, you were primarily a writer before this. How is it to now be, you know, on stage in the group?
Well, I actually have been an artist and a writer the whole time. But I actually enjoy the fact that I'm kind of an unknown artist. That makes me happy, to be honest. I love writing so much, and that's probably my favorite part about making music is the writing and recording of the songs, especially with this band. But I've been performing for 15 years, and Colby and I toured a lot together, and I've had a few record deals as well. It just hasn't been, you know.
Yeah, that's how I met him, was actually hearing his music, and then he came to California and we started writing together, and then we continued, you know, doing our own solo careers and writing together at the same time.
Right. And so y'all are working on your album now. What can you tell us about that? You just mentioned a little bit of Hawaiian flair on there, but anything else?
We have a cool reggae country song.
Can't wait to hear that.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. That'll be fun to perform live, I bet.
It will
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have, majority of the record is heartbreak songs.
Okay.
But we have a lot of people around us going through it, and honestly, we all feel like those are the ones that hit you, you know, the hardest emotionally, and that people around the world can relate to, and we've all related to. So they feel really good to sing too.
Definitely. I was gonna say y'all are in happy relationships, obviously. So is it kind of different to write from that place versus when you're kind of single and you've been through that stuff?
No, because we're truly drawing it from
Past
basically past experiences, but all of our friends right now are either going through a hard time in marriage or divorce or in just relationships that they're in. So that's why we named the EP and album Tides, is all the highs and lows that every single one of us go through in life and in love.
And honestly, before I met him, I dated every bad boy there was out there, probably. Not really.
Wow.
No, not all of them, but like...
Just a few hundred. No.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's an exaggeration, but I had a terrible talent of choosing ones that weren't good for me. So it's really easy for me just to go right back there, you know, even though we're in a happy relationship. Now it's like, it wasn't always like that, you know. So
definitely. Well, I can't wait to hear the rest of the album. I'm sure it'll be great. Y'all be on the lookout for that soon. And so this has been Gone West, and for more on them,